How about now?
It's okay.
But it's echo. Okay, it's not echo. All right.
Can you disconnect your TV? Your
disconnect this one. Okay. So disconnect now. So where can you see my slide then?
On Zoom.
Okay. Okay. Right?
Yeah.
So these things makes the echo. So you cannot see how do you gonna display for the sister to see the slide? Should we? Right? Is still echo? Is okay?
Yeah, I'll just do it and there's no echo now.
Yeah, this echo.
No, it's just the.
Oh, okay, this is the actual area. So yeah, what comes to mind? Okay, it depends on everyone. They have depend on the upbringing, their personal experience to see the family, what kind of family they are, what kind of sort of people are, and then one of the things that we need to know is because this is like the concept of marriage is also exists in every society, every civilizations and culture. So much of this is influenced by that as well. Not to mention what we watch and what we see, right? You see Hollywood and Bollywood, the way they picture and subhanallah these days is even crazier now with the same subhanallah. Anyway, let's not go to that. How family is being portrayed, that will come to our mind and see it shape us in terms of our view of marriage, right? Some people think about I know some people want to ask, but they always think about the big party, inviting people, right? I think mostly they think about honeymoon, right? They think about one of the things that people think is they're gonna move away from the family. It's gonna be new life, sharing with someone they just know, or they just, and then how to do with extended family. I don't know whether you have these issues or the in-laws.
Oh, strong issues.
Yeah, that's what I was expecting to hear.
Back home, many issues
All right.
on this.
These issues, right, is actually contribute to the marriage or to the family, the complications as well, how you deal with that, right? There's a couple of things I want to share that later on, but again, yeah, it would be nice if this is like a group of people we can have discussion, right? So yes, extended family, which in brackets in-laws, right? Commitment or lack of commitment, well, responsibility and so on, right? So that is a few things. I just do a random check and random search, right? That also you probably hear stories about domestic violence, right? Whether husband to wife as well as a father to children. I don't know, probably so much mother to children, but I think father to children is quite, you can hear that. This is one of the issues as well within the family. The other issues that we sometimes hear is infidelity. Is it the right word, infidelity? Being honest and having a third party outside of house, right? Especially someone who is married to a certain year, they get bored and they know someone and they get close relationship. And one of the things that I don't know about you, but some people also talk about having what do you call that? Polygamy. I don't know whether this is gonna be a very sensitive topic to talk about, right? This polygamy, why Islam is allows, what is the rule, and there's a lot of things in that. So that's why I find it very, very now normally I don't do live sessions on this. Normally it's only like a live, like a really live audience, because I need to see the reactions to that as well. Some of the sensitive parts that I plan to talk about, I might have to skip it because I think the sensitivity of that might have to go some of the and sort of enclosed environment, if you will. All right. Someone has to admit. All right.
Yeah, I'm
okay. All right. All right. So what I'm going to talk about today. Today, I'm going to talk four things. I'm going to talk about, let's unravel, so unwrap what is actually love and desire. And then I want to talk about traditions as well, where it actually play roles in shaping our minds in terms of what's around us, especially marriage as well. Then one of the readiness, I want to see what is actually the purpose of marriage and what are the conditions, what are the arkan, what is the validation, the requirement, the prerequisite of getting married. So this is going to be a very quick one. And normally I do have a class for how to let me put it this way. I know certain masjids right now in Indonesia that I heard of, they have encouraged people who apply for marriage and so on, and they want the qadi or someone to give them the advice. They will not allow them unless the bride and the groom sit for a 2-week class separately, right? So they have to attend 2-week class. If you have to spend 5 years, 4 years to become bachelor, to get bachelor degree, master degree, right? And that is for your life, for your economic part. How about this? Because this life, in marriage life, can be a good vehicle for you to go to Jannah as well. Yeah. So why not attaining Jannah? You spend time for that as well. So that is the philosophy behind that. So that's why some masjid is actually required people to sit within that. Some people, some classes, they have 3 days. And now probably 2 weeks as well. Certain things they teach how to become a good husband, what is understanding about husbands in Islam is, and also the story from the Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, right? Because why certain things in our sunnah, right? Even Quran reveals Surat Tahrim was by Ya ayyuhan nabiyyu tuharrimuma. What's the right word for that? I need someone who look at the Quran in a sense that ya ayyuhan nabi, ya ayyuhan nabi.
It's from Surat Tahrim.
Tahrim, Surat number 66. All right. Ya ayyuhan nabi tuharrima halallahu lak tabatahu mardata aswajik wallahu ghafurur rahim. And this surah, this ayah is refuting our prophet. Yeah. Of doing something which is inside the house, which is something supposed to be private within him and his wife. Yeah. If we go to the next verse and the third verse, Rasulullah SAW actually mentioned particular secret to one of his wives. Yeah. And then his wife actually told other people, and he refuted the wife. Why are you telling everyone? Right? This is something like a secret, right, between husband and wife. And this Allah recorded in the Quran, right? So that tells us how important it is to have a very good relationship between husband and wife, right? Because that is gonna be the eternal lessons. This Quran is gonna be recited over and over again until the end of time, right? Because so important, right? So that is one of the things why when sometimes I get off a little bit of sidetrack, right? So that is the importance of understanding that as well. All right, let's go. Let me because I need to adjust my computer as well. I have now a screen. I don't know, is this is Mario, the brother Mario that I know?
I think yes.
Okay. All right. So I want to start with love. This is our session, so marriage and love, right? La yu'minu ahadukum hatta yuhibbu li akhihi ma yuhibbu li nafsi. None of you believes until he loves for his brother. What is actually love? Let me tell you something about love. How much do you know about love?
Nothing.
Call me Dr. Love. Love. What is the biggest love of all, right? The biggest love of all is when Allah even put the name of his name Ar-Rahim as the belly of the womb of the mother, right? So it's called Rahim. It's also, I don't know whether you use the same word also. The Indonesian, we call the womb of the mother is called Rahim. I don't know whether you use that as well. So Allah actually calls the womb of the mother's Rahim. taking from his own name, Ar-Rahman, Ar-Rahim, right? So this is the source of love. So one of the biggest love is a mother to children, right? And you can find cases where, mother, when they get upset, right? Like get upset with the children, I keep telling you, you never listen to me, you're very upset, right? But at the same time, the mother cooks, right? And she was cooking for her own son, and her son, she's very upset. The son, she's choking him, like, you're not listening to me, but she's still cooking, right? So that's kind of love. Even though she feel offended, she feel she's furious and everything, but still showing love, right? And that is love, right? Love is something that you want to give. There was a story about Rasulullah SAW when Aisha, our mother Aisha, came to him and asked, um, can you make dua for me, right? And Rasulullah SAW, okay, I make dua, Allah forgive Aisha, forgive her past sins, forgive the future sin and everything. And Aisha was listening to that dua, and she was like, she couldn't bear the happiness. She actually fell down, right? Because the dua, Ya Allah, forgive them. And Rasulullah said, oh Aisha, you like my dua? Yes, I do. I like your dua. And Rasulullah mentions, I recite this dua for my ummah every day, right? So that is the love. Even Rasulullah never see us, right? He call us his brother, right? And all the companions, are we not your brother? You're my Sahaba, you're my companions, right? The brothers are the one who never see me, but they believe in me. And then see how Rasulullah say, I want to return that by making the dua for them, right? So this is kind of love, right? So what is love? Love is the pleasure of giving, right? Now, if you're someone, I cannot see you for 2 days, I'm in love, I'm so mad about you. This is not love, this is lust, this is desire, this is pleasure of taking, right? So I think especially our sisters, right, that don't believe if someone says, I will, one day feels like 1 month, and I miss you so much, everything. That is not love. This is desire. This desire to meet, desire to see, desire to touch, desire. This is a part of our desire. It's not necessarily love. Love is the pleasure of giving, right? Love is, you see love, when people they just got married recently, right? When they walk next to each other. Wait until 7 years of marriage or 10 years of marriage. The husband probably like 3 meters ahead, and like, hurry up, come on, hurry up, all right? So where is the love, all right? So yeah, that is, and it has to put an effort for that. It is really to put an effort, right? But the one who fears standing before his Lord, he stopped himself from following his lust. So this is, Allah mentioned that there is something called lust, and we will follow this lust, anil hawa, right? Wanahan nafsa anil hawa, and they restrain themselves. The hawa means lust or desire, right? Fa'innal jannata hiyal ma'wa. And if you can restrain your lust, your home will be in paradise. This is one of the, can imagine if this reward is so big, right? That means this is a big challenge. And you can see that later on. There's so many hadith that related to how to deal with your desires and lusts and everything, right? So Allah give that desire. There's same things like food, right? Allah gives us the need to eat. But there is something that we can eat halal, there's something that we can eat haram as well, right? The desire to eat itself is natural, right? But what Allah wants is to put it in the halal way, not the haram way. The same thing, the need to have relationship, to have intimate relationship, I think this halal, right? Yeah. But as long as you put it in a halal way, you got reward for that. If you put it in a haram way, then you get you're sinful for doing that. Yeah. So restraining from lust leads you to Jannah. Right? So at least I want to put a separation between what is love and what is lust, and so, or what is desire, if you will. This everyone already know about this. Wala taqrabu zina. Do not go near adultery or fornications, if you will. Kana fahisatan wasa'an sabila. This is evil. This is indecency, right? And subhanallah, back probably even during my time, right, 1980s, 1970s, you have to make an effort for something around adultery, fornications, or pornography. You have to make an effort, right? But nowadays, just within my lifetime, with the advance of mobile phone and whatnot, right, you don't have to make an extra effort to go outside to gain access to pornography right now. You just everything within. Should I mute my audio as well? Is audio from me? Okay, right. Right. So yes, that is now is getting more and more rampant, more and more visible, more and more accessible, more and more easy for people to access. Then the need for us to guard this this chastity, if you will, is becoming higher and higher. So that's why. And one of the of course, marriage itself in and itself not the solution among other things as well, but at least one of the for us to keep guarding ourselves of this evil, which is adultery or fornications evil, is to go into marriage, right? So this is one of the things, and we actually get a reward for that. I pick up a hadith from is a hadith. Oh, this is Quran one. Allah has written, Inna Allah kataba ala ibn Adam. Allah has written the hang on, I think this is a hadith. So I forgot because I copy and paste it from before. So Surah Al-Isra. Can't remember the hadith is in my note. There's a hadith. Allah has written for Bani Adam something called adultery, right? The adultery of the eye is at looking, right? So because that can lead to adultery, the adultery of the tongue as well, what you utter, and adultery of the wish, right? Even you have intimate with your relationship with your spouse, with your lawful spouse, but if you think someone else, this can also consider adultery as well, right? And that is the so let's be very careful about. Nowadays people can easily put pictures, and people like seems no harm to that. Actually, it is actual harm. When you put your pictures in Facebook and whatnot, right? One of the things is the evil eye, which is a different topic, right? That evil eye, probably we can talk about that in some other time. But one of the things is, if you put a pictures, and even though sometimes they call Islamic pictures, but the pictures is enticing, so it's inviting as well, and then normally men can easily get attracted to that. So this is part of the adultery of the eye, right? So Allah mentioned that is part of this adultery. And look at Surah Nur, right? Lower your gaze. قُلْ لِلْمُؤْمِنِينَ يَغُضُّوا مِنْ أَبْصَارِهِمْ. And then for the absor, for the gaze, to guard their وَيَحْفُظُوا فُرُوجَهُمْ. Yahfuzu min hafiz, like the same word hafiz means to guard, and furuj is our part of genitalia, and in this case it's called chastity. So it is as Allah has tell us to lower our gaze, right, and also guard our chastity. In Surah Al-Mu'minun, qad aflahal mu'minun allazina hum an salatihim qad aflahal mu'minun, and one of those allazina hum fi li furujihim hafizun, the one who safeguard their chastity. And this is again, Allah wants us to guard this, because the evil and the temptations of this is quite huge nowadays, as mentioned, even more and more, right? So lower your gaze and guard and chastity. This ayah actually continue the next one. And then waqal al-mu'minat wa mu'minun, now waqul lil mu'minat, and the believing woman also to lower the gaze and guard the chastity, right? And then wala yubdina zinatuhunna. Zina is adornment, something that makes it pretty, and woman as itself is pretty, right? So it is the hair can be something that's pretty there, the movement and everything is something pretty to men, right? So this is to not to show, not to, because that is what actually will lead to, it's a small one step at a time, right? Shaitan will not ask you to go jump off the sea right away. Just play around with the water, see you're safe, right? Go another step. It's only knee level, you will not get drowned, right? You go on the next one. It's only, waist level, you will not get drowned, and step by step. Right. So the same thing, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala through Surah An-Nur asks us to instruct us to lower the gaze. All right. What is it? Okay, Allah put this. So, walazina la yad'una ma'allah, those who do not invoke other than Allah, and they're not kill, and they're not do fornications. There are three main, what do you call that? Grave sins, mortal sins, right? So the three sins that Allah mentioned here, that is number one is making shirk, right? Number two is to kill, and Allah put the third biggest sin is fornications and adultery. So this is one of the biggest sin. So now you can see where I'm heading to right now. So one thing to know, that Islam, like any other, sometimes other religion that see relationship like a human relationship or sexual relationship something that is taboo, right? There's a certain level of Christianity, for example, they're practicing celibacy, right? That means they don't get married, because why? As a holy man, you should not be involved in that, right? There's other priests of other denominations and religion, they actually don't practice marriage because they think that relationship is unholy, right? This is completely different in Islam, right? Islam is that need and that desire comes from Allah, and Allah wants that to put it in the right way, right? Just like eating, right? So at least two things, the need for that is procreation, so the human being can continue to exist, and also for entertainment, right? Also from getting close relationship with the wife and everything. So it is valid. It is a good reason for us to practice that. And then if you don't do it properly, as what this verse tells us, it is part of the sin if you do it in haram way, which is, we call it fornication, whether outside marriage or even inside marriage to someone you're not lawfully married to. So that is MashaAllah. Walaikum salam. So we just finished one one session. So what we so the first topic that we talk about there is love, there is a desire, right? There is a lust, there is a need to have a relationship, right? And Allah say it is halal as long as we practice it halal. So we want to differentiate with this love. It is just desire. Love is, you remember what love is? Now you should know what love is. Love is the pleasure of giving. Yeah, it's not pleasure of taking. So one of the things is probably something to do with, for example, parenting, right? It's a very good analogy here, right? I remember when you have like a 3 or 4-year-old, right? And at the time there was a Toys R Us. I don't know whether they still have Toys R Us. Right? I think there is. Yeah. I thought they already closed.
In Hong Kong,
right. So well, it's birthday and whatnot, or finish school and everything. Okay, let's go to Toys R Us and buy you some toys, right? Of course, you're not a millionaire, right? You have a budget only $200 or something, right? So, and here, Toys R Us, everything toys. Kids in the candy store, kids in the toy store. You can imagine it. Okay, and I say, can I have this? Probably it should be cheaper a little bit, right? And you go around. And then after half an hour, my daughter pick up this and this, and we come to the counter, right? We pay whatever amount, which is a big amount, right? But we want your kids to be happy and whatnot, right? And then, you know what? After spending half an hour, look at all the toys and everything, right? And I pay for the toy. When my daughter actually left the shop, she looked at her toy and she looked at the other toy. Look at her toy. Look at her, right? You know what happened? The feeling of appreciation to the toy is actually getting diminished because there's more toys in there. the feeling of sukur, the feeling of grateful already vanished, right? Because you can see all the toys, but you cannot see it, right? So one day I changed that a little bit, right? I was back in Indonesia. So alhamdulillah, we collect some cash and some money, right? So I talked to my daughters, all right, let's go to Toys R Us. Only this time you pick everything you want. But there's a small secret. What? We're gonna bring these toys to the orphans and we're gonna share it with them. All right, and she was excited, right? And she went there going crazy and pick everything, all right? It was quite a big amount of money. And then we drove to these orphans. And then here we are, right? We have a lot of people, kids, and she was handing these toys. When she was handling it, she was crying. The joy of sharing, right? This is really love, right? Which is the joy of sharing, the joy of giving, the pleasure of giving, right? You spend 200 Hong Kong dollar, right? And enough to make her ungrateful. You spend almost 5,000 Hong Kong dollar, right? So it's actually to make people feeling grateful is actually more expensive than the other way around. And then when she gives it, there's one kid take one toy, and she thought the toy is gonna be shared. And my daughter says, no, there's another one for you. And the girl was crying and my daughter was crying. It's a very good experience. And I learned that deep inside our heart, there's something called pleasure of giving. Right? So that's why so many people they spend money on charity and stuff like that, because they're actually selfish. I have one colleague in Hong Kong. He's not Muslim. Obviously, he's not Muslim. He's actually non-religion, right? Atheist. From time to time, maybe 1 or 2 years, he spent like a half month or 2 weeks on 1 week. He signed up to this course and went to a little village somewhere in China under one organization, where he spent his time building bathrooms and water stuff like that. And it says, and I remember, why are you doing that? What is the benefit for you? And it says, actually, I benefit, not them. I benefit from doing. I don't know. I give sense of achievement, sense of, and then they're not believers, right? So it is in a way that, and then we have to train our kids, right? If you keep giving them gifts and toys and from, and for just being birth, right? This is where, so that's why I always link to achievement, and always get them involved with, so they can enjoy what we call as the pleasure of giving. And again, this is what love is, the pleasure of giving. All right. So how are we doing so far in terms of times?
You can take as long as you want.
Right. All right. Traditions and influences. I want to talk about traditions, cultures, habit, customs. What else? Customaries, habit, culture, traditions, right? And do you know this? Have you seen this before?
Yes.
Oh, there's actually a slide. Unfortunately, we cannot project it. I should be able to project it from here, right?
Probably. I think I figured out the issue. You can.
No, I don't think. Can I?
I need to turn the volume of this one off.
Ah.
Yeah.
So I can do it now.
Sure.
You figure out the issue now. All right. Okay. All right. No echo now, right?
I hope.
Okay. Do you know this picture? I haven't seen you for a while, brother. No. Have you seen this picture? This is a tribe called in Burma, tribe called Kayan Lahui, right? You know what's this? What they wear?
To lengthen their necks.
Yeah. And until now, the anthropologists or whatever the people who study them, They don't know what's the reason behind that. By the way, right? So they're doing it since they're very young. They put one ring until they are 70, until they pass away. They put this ring to ring. So what happened if they take out the ring? You know what happened to the head? Fall. Because the neck is not actually strong enough to hold, because it's actually long, and this is actually, so if they remove everything, it's gonna be just like that. They cannot hold the head, right? And there are there are stories why they have that. Some of them believe that they're gonna look like dragon. At the time, dragon considered beauty, right? Some people says, oh, if they there was one under tribe that tried to make them slaves and everything. If they see they have long neck, they're not beauty, right? So they will not take them as their slave, which is contradict. One is for beauty, one's for the other one as well. Is the woman with the long neck considers beauty. A lot of things about they don't know what, right? What I'm trying to suggest here is, if human is allowed to do based on their mind, right, then traditions, cultures, and everything is going to be crazy, right? There's a story. I can't remember. Can't remember exactly where people have, for example, how they bury their dead, right? Some people spit on them first. Some people burn them to here. There's a lot of things on that as well. You know, in China, back probably, I don't know exactly which year, that the ladies used to have a very small feet. You know that? Have you heard that? So what they do, they since very young, they tie the foot like this, and they tie it up, and they use the shoe. So they goes like this. They cannot actually walk. At the time, they say, the story goes that the emperor at the time liked women or ladies with a small foot, right, with a small feet. Right, so it's always associated to beauty, and if you allow cultures like that, like there's a Mursi tribe in Ethiopia, where they have a mouthpiece as big as this, so they put in the mouth, so the mouth becoming the lips becoming bigger and bigger, and there's actually like a plate. They put like a plate in here. All right. So what I'm telling you this is, human develop their cultures, develop their habit, right? Depends on situation, depend on the needs, right? Depends on whatever challenge they have, and be amazed to know like how. And the same thing with marriage as well, right? The understanding about marriage, and even habit and traditions. Some of them negative, like, I don't know whether you call this negative or not, but something is, especially this is not good for your health, but for them it's okay, right? It is not affect their life as well. But some of the positive, I don't know. Have you visited Japan? Have you visited Japan? Right? There are people who clean. There are people who very, very clean. But Japan is up to high level. Like they are super clean. They are. What I remember one. For example, their toilet, their toilet, right, is amazing with the heater, sometimes with the water. There was one time, I know, I sorry to talk about toilet, but I just want to let you feel like some people, the toilet, like you go in there, either you pass out or you die entering it, right? But there are other traditions that their toilet is amazing. There's if you notice, like some of the public, at least the one that I try to notice, right, the toilets, they don't have the hole underneath. Some public toilet, they have holes, and it's probably been open as well. They don't have that. You know why they don't have it? Because they don't want the smell to come out. So they have a special button to create the perfume, and they have special button. When you click this button, you can hear the voice of river, the voice of whatever. So to cover, just in case you make a noise while you're doing your deed, right? To cover that noise, you can press that. So people outside will not hear you, right? Forget about the smell, even the sound and everything, right? So this is how they take cleanliness and respect people to the next level. This is one tradition as well, right? I remember one of the things, sorry, I got a sidetrack because I was really amazed. I was so amazed that I went into their tourism center. I actually wrote a note. May God bless the people of Japan. I put in the sticker because I was really amazed because your cleanliness. Right? I put that. May Allah guide you or something like that. Of course, I make dua as well. One of the things train, right? Like intercity train, right? If you intercity train, picture to where you're from, right? And then picture the toilet, right? At least from where I'm coming from, you don't even want to touch the handle. It's so sticky, right? I actually deliberately, when I took train, I would just want to go to the toilet inside the train in Japan. Wow, it's amazing. It's sparky clean and everything. It's like it's not never been used before, right? It's really smells so good and everything. So I don't know. This is the other level. By the way, these are cultures, traditions, and so on, right? I wanna ask you to see this. Where do you see this?
Masjid.
Masjid. Sadly, masjid. You still have to put sadly masjid. It is, yeah. Sadly, it is in the masjid. If you go inside, right, people are scattered. And then when Iqamah says Allahu Akbar, Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah, and everyone straight line, right? We actually have ability, right? Without instruction, without just a simple command like that, we make ourselves line. But when we leave the masjid, we cannot even make this one straight. So again, this is the habit that that we have. I know this is quite embarrassing. Anyway, I know the solutions for this. I know some people actually start building. I saw that in Japan as well. Where they have like a container or something like that. So they open the container, they put their shoes. Their shoes have a special, there's like a two-prong things. You put your shoes here, and it transmit some sort of antiseptics and good odors as well. And you lock it and then it roll using conveyor. So then you take it using octopus cart or something like that. So everything is clean, right? So we should aim to have something like that, like a conveyor belt underground or something. People just put the octopus cart, right? Of course, it's gonna be investment, but this is not the reflections what inside the masjid, right? This is the reflection of I don't know how much dirt and everything they pick up, but anyway, yeah, I took this picture somewhere else, but it is in the masjid. Unfortunately. Wa iza qila lahum ittabi'u ma anzalallahu qalu bal nattabi'u ma wajadna 'alaihi aba'ana. When it is said to them, follow what Allah has revealed, what do they say? No, we follow our forefathers. No, we stick with our traditions. So this is part of the human limitation, is to follow the tradition. To follow that as awalau kana saitanu yad'uhum ila adzabis sa'ir. Even though their forefathers knowingly doing this is not something that is sinful what they do, right? So this is part of the limitations of us try to stick and to follow traditions, right? And you remember at the deathbed, Abu Talib, oh uncle, just say Ashhadu an la ilaha. I will make a case in front of Allah for you. What did Abu Talib says? No, I'm not going to leave the religion of my forefathers. This is a strong one of our desire to follow the traditions, right? And even though Abu Talib knows that Rasulullah is the truth, know him the truth, know him everything, love him so much, he protect him so much, he love him so much, know he's the truth, but no, I'm not going to leave my traditions. Right? So if someone can stick to the tradition so much, right? From time to time, I have brothers in Hong Kong say, we want to do marriage and so on, but I don't want to do this, but my parents asked me to do this. I don't know what this called, right? They have some gathering before the wedding party or something. Do you know that? And people come and whatever, play something, do something, right? Right? I think you know what I mean, right? Yeah.
So spending over a few days.
Yeah. And subhanallah, well, is it something that Allah is pleased with? I don't know. You know, right? And again, what is actually traditions? Right? Tradition is something that when Islam comes to Arabia, the Quraysh, Islam does not revolutionize the culture. Something that is good, keep it as good. Something that is away from Allah, change it. Right? So Islam does not need to revolutionize the tradition, but something that outside the follow of Islam, we should try to avoid that. So I don't know whether you've seen this film. This I took that in Bali. I don't know whether this is someone's die or someone's wedding reception. It's like long lines of people carrying food and everything. So traditions and customs are human creation, right? While Islam is from Allah. And what is marriage is my sunnah. So Rasulullah SAW, marriage is my sunnah. And whoever not following is not from us. So marriage is my sunnah. And marriage should be based on Islam, not merely tradition. I think that is I wanna point out today, which is there are things called traditions, there are called cultures and habits and whatnot. But have a look whether this is something that is based on Islam, whether it's or not. So, for example, walimah. Do you know you use the word walimah, brother?
Yes.
Which is receptions, right?
Yeah.
You know, not many people know actually walimah is religious function. It was first by Abdurrahman bin Auf radiallahu anh. When he came and he was like a stripe of perfume on his desk, on his dress. Rasulullah, what happened? I just got married. Why don't you do walimah? Right? And that's why Abdurrahman bin Auf was very proud. I was the first one who performed walimah. So walimah reception is part of the sunnah of Rasulullah to announce to people to be joy and share food, right? So guests and nice food, yes, it is part of the walimah. But how about music? How to mix gender gathering, right? And especially if you open up to other people, people come with indecent clothes, right? Right? Or 3 days on 3 nights of parties, right? Is it Islamic? Is it something that this is not walimah, right? And again, walimah is a religious function. Some people call reception a social function. So it really depends on you. So start the marriage with the deeds that pleasing Allah, and try to remove that. Try to see that this sort of thing is not within the sunnah, which is not something that Allah will be pleased. And don't call it walima, call it something else, right? It's a social function, it's not a religious function. So, all right, the next one, I have this picture. I got it since 2014, but I think it's still relevant today. Have you seen this picture? I think the guy who wrote this is from UK. Right. So if nikah and walima costs 5,000 pounds sterling and zina costs a cinema ticket and popcorn, what have you done to the deen of Allah? All right. What I want to poke here, you know, at least from where I'm from, right? They're already 20 something plus, they want to get married. Oh, wait, you have not finished your school yet. Oh, wait, your older sister is not married yet. Just postpone. Oh, don't get married yet. You don't have a house yet. Wait until you have a house. Oh, you have a house. Wait until you have a car, right? Oh, you still have the bachelor degree, you have master degree first, then get married. Oh, wait until master degree, go to PhD. It's all waiting and waiting and waiting. We make things difficult, right? And shaitan makes it easier to do zina, right? And we human makes it difficult to get married. And this is something that we need to consider, we need to think about, right? This recording will be in the web.
On the YouTube, yes.
Okay, I was gonna tell someone story, but then I cannot do that. someone, oh, that's my story. Yeah, because from time to time, someone in Hong Kong comes to me and ask me questions here and there. All right. But sometimes I share that because because you will never know, right? Sometimes I receive 3 or 4 questions within a year or something. So course of 10 years, probably I have already talked to 40 different people, so you will not guess which one. Anyway, I'm not gonna tell that. The story. Okay, probably let me present it in a different way. I think this friend has a daughter, and daughter start getting serious with someone, and normally, and what happened is he just asked this friend of mine, right? He just went up to the boy's father. Hey, your son coming to my daughter, do it properly. Right? I mean, of course, in the nicest way and something like that. I cannot accept like this and do it properly. Do it. We are Muslim. We don't have this boyfriend and girlfriend thing. So why don't you just do nikah? But my son is still finishing school. He will not become a doctor within a year or something. No, it's something that we can risk. Why Allah's name Ar-Rizq, Ar-Razaq, right? Allah give risk, right? And as I mentioned, what we have learned so far right now, right? Saving ourselves and everything. So marriage is don't make marriage in Islam is very easy, right? Just the wali to witness, and then the offer and acceptance, the ijab kabul, the akad. It's very easy, right? You just announce everyone, right? You can $100, $200. Yeah, subhanallah. But anyway, yeah, I just told these stories because I think our traditions start, putting more difficulties or people want to get married, right? Education is not complete yet, this and this, and this is one of the things that we need to consider is whether this is the right way, right? So that is the second topic, which is the traditions. Which one is tradition? Which one is walima is actually religious function, not a social function? And again, a lot of influence, whether it's the cultures, the customs, and whatnot. So this is where I want to highlight that we have to be careful which one is cultures, which one. If we want to, because marriage again is a vehicle for you, can be a vehicle for you to go to Jannah, right? You pray alone, there's only one reward. You play with your wife, suddenly become 25, 27 rewards, right? That is the blessing. You have children, you teach your children how to pray. Every time they pray, every time there's going to be a reward for you as well, right? Reward for the children, but reward for you as well. There's going to be benefit for you. Normally, you only gain $1. After marriage, suddenly you get multiple $100, $200, right? And every every family members, the risk that Allah comes to you, right? So there's a lot of benefit, a lot of blessings that Allah put in there. That's why doing the haram way is one of the biggest sin, but doing the right way should definitely attract Allah's benefit for that. Are we in time? Are we on time? I still have a lot of things to go. What time we have to finish? I don't mind finishing it now.
And it's
Huh?
good if we finish it in 15 to 20 minutes.
15 minutes, okay.
20 minutes.
All right, okay. Then I'm gonna be very fast then. Okay, what is the purpose of nikah? Two things. I think in general, two things, which is to increase the goodness in society, right? So at least fornications and everything is getting reduced, and people get together. Two big families, like you have a problem in-laws, and hopefully if you do it correctly, so it might be an in-laws problem. But anyway, it's increased goodness in society, right? So we establish, and also to have next generation, which is good as well. The ability for us to influence, to have children who recite the name of Allah, who recite the Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah. What is a blessing to have children that can recite the name of Allah, and we continue the legacy of ourselves and even to Prophet Adam, which is to become the worshipper of Allah, and that is something that we should benefit from. So there's the two main things I can see. It's from overall, if you list down, if you Google it, or if you probably Google, you don't use Google, I know you use ChatGPT now. Okay, if you ChatGPT now, right? And what is the purpose of it? You can probably categorize between these two. It's really about society and about the next generation that can recite the name of Allah. All right. There's a hadith to Jami Tirmidhi. The Ya Ali wahai is Indonesia. So oh Ali, there's a salah satun. There's a three things that you cannot delay, which is a salah, which is salah, is a anat when the time comes, while janaza when is the janaza is there, and for the single woman who has so wajadata laha kuf'un. Kuf'un means kufu. Kuf'an means something that is match, right? Marry someone within your kufu. I don't know whether you use that term, right? So it is better for you. It's an advice. Our Prophet is, when you marry someone within your own tradition, that means the difference is less, rather than someone completely different generation, different. Of course, interracials and everything is allowed, but if you come from the same society, come from there is more similarity, right? So if someone is already have a candidate with same similarity and everything, do not delay too. So do not delay three things, right? So do not delay. One of them is salah, janazah, and the marriage. Okay, what is the conditions of marriage? Of course, you already passed that, right? Consent. So you have to be. So this is one of the things. There's no forced marriage in Islam. There's no forced marriage. So this is. Is that with you or with someone else? That I was asked to do some of the misunderstanding of Islam. Oh no, that's not. It's someone else. Yeah, I was asked to present some of the misconceptions of Islam. Is one of them is a forced marriage, right? So there's no. I think it's Brother Raza. There's no what I call forced marriage. Of course, you have to say that you are freely, willingly, with a sound mind, not like you're. Not like a gun and you are gonna marry. Yeah, yes, I'm gonna. No, it's not like that. It's a sound mind of conscious decision as well, and they have to agree, right? So the forms of contract, the akad, right, and including the dowry. So, we're gonna have marriage. It's gonna be this place, gonna be this time, and so on, and how much the dowry is gonna be. So this is one, and the witness. The witness has to be two Muslims, and there are certain things where they have to be in a sound mind and maturity as well. So you cannot have two kids. There was one question. I got married recently, and I have my two sons as a witness. How old are they? They're still young, right? So it's invalid, right? So you have to have maturity. Maturity means you use the word balik.
Really?
Yeah, balik, adolescence, right? In English, adolescent, someone who's already reached the puberty, right? And the wali. We're gonna talk about the wali later on. Right. So the wali or the guardian. So the marriage has to be the contract between the bride, the groom, and the guardian of the bride. And then this is also included. Some people say this is not mandatory, but again, it is better for you to announce, right? Whether you announce it publicly, you send invitation. Nowadays is WhatsApp, right? Right. I don't know whether you experience someone sending CD. When someone getting invitations, right? In the past, people use like a postcard style. I don't know, you've seen that before, right? Am I talking like a really foreign to you? Like how much year gap between you and me? Right. Yeah, it was a postcard like invitation.
Yeah.
And then there's one time people sending CD. CD. So you put that in the CD, and then the guy talk, and it was CD or VCD, right? There was some movie clip, basically PowerPoint movement, getting married, please come to our. And because the CD was so cheap or something like that, so I just take one copy and just copy everything. Just copy to whatever the number of. Nowadays it's WhatsApp, right? Or Instagram. People invite you using Instagram now? I don't know. I don't have Instagram account. Right. So that is the conditions. The arkan, the pillars, the arkan is number one is the intention to marry. So you have to be intention, and this is the akad. Akad. Now this is one of the things that is not not known to many people. The akad. You remember your akad? The uh, the akad is when you shake hand or when you have the contract between you and the guardian, the wali. You remember the wording that you exchanged just a few years back? I was blank. I didn't know what to do.
They speak the meher in it.
Yeah. One of the things is they said the mahar, right? Or the meher, they call it. But what is actually they said? You have to remember that. I put brothers. I put someone on the spot.
Do you accept Fala, daughter of Fala,
Yeah.
in exchange of meher of
Okay.
this amount?
Is it like a business transaction? You exchange, right? It is actually the word is actually I give my daughter or my here. I give this marriage to you, right? This is the offer, and as you say, I accept the hand of this or my marriage, and then you say with the mahar of this, right? The mahar is not exchanging human with mahar, but the idea is they offer you. What is exactly happening here? What is actually happening? Transfer. The transfers of responsibility. Right? In Indonesian, we got sandang, papan, and pangan. Sandang means cloth, papan means roof, pangan means food. So three of the basic needs, at least three of the basic needs, has now been transferred from the father, responsibility from the father. Just say, look at this, right? It's different with the other religion when they have the vow of marriage. I take you to be lawful wedded husband. I take you to be, right? It's this contract is the equal term. If you look at the offer and acceptance, the akad, and in Arabic it's called ijab and kabul, right? One is sending, one is receiving. You are the receiving part, or we are, or you will be the receiving part. We are the receiving part. I give my hand of my daughter of this to you in the nikah, and I say I accept that, right? So at least these three things become your responsibility. These three things, Allah will no longer ask the father. Allah will ask you. You feed your wife or not, you look after, right? But among this is the basic one. There's other things as well. So education, basic psychological need as well. You know what psychological need? Psychological need is that they have to be treated nice. They have to be treated properly, right? I sometimes cannot think of someone. I have that experience, right? It was a very good scholars and whatnot, right? And and he was just look at his coffee and then pointing at his wife and like that, right? So I don't know, in front of public, if that person does that, right? Can you imagine what he does behind that? For me, this is not what we call, you know how much love father to their daughters, right? And then they hand it to you. And normally the father normally cry when they hand it to you, because this is not only a responsibility of clothing, but also psychological need, emotional need. What is emotional need? Oh, you look beautiful tonight. This is part of the emotional need. And this is part of responsibility. But sometimes that you look so beautiful is only the first few months of the marriage. After 7 years, 10 years, the word's getting less and less and less. Well, again, we can talk about it. I do have a class actually but it's more a workshop, like a 2 hours break and 2 hours workshop, how become a husband, but it's only for men, only for brothers, and how to become a good wife is only for ladies, right? And I run this class based on say Hasil Qadi books on what husband and wife need, and also based on the book that I mentioned to you about love and respect, right? A simple thing, right? For example, you know, one of the simple things See, I got carried away. I have already passed my 15 minutes. So let's move on. I easily get distracted. And let's move on. Otherwise, and the presence of God and the wali. The wali, the sequence is the father, and then the son, and then the brother, and then the paternal uncle. And then if they don't have that, they can point someone who's respected. For example, someone who just recently embraced Islam. Of course, the father is not Muslim, the son is not Muslim yet, or so on. They can appoint someone or whatever people trusted in their community to become wali. Right? I myself in Hong Kong, I think I've become a wali more than 7 occasions to help people getting married and so on and so on. All right, so what is the requirement for the groom, right? Muslim, definitely, right? The bride is not their mahram, definitely. Not in ihram. So when you're doing Hajj or Umrah, you cannot get married, right? And then you have to be consent, right? And then you have to know the guardian as well, and have to know the bride, right? So I'll marry you to Fulana binti Fulana. Okay, where is she? I don't know. All right, is she somewhere sitting there? No, you have to know. You have to do ta'aruf. You have to do. Do you use the word ta'aruf as well?
Yeah.
What is it in English?
Introduction.
Introduce. It's not really. This is what I mean, but it's actually not getting to know. A ta'aruf. Yeah, I think it's sometimes call it a boyfriend and girlfriend, but not really. It's just like a introduction. I think introduction, probably, yeah. And the groom has not have 4 wives yet. This is gonna be another topic that this is gonna be another can of worms over discuss. But yeah, we can. Oh, I remember now. I think it was Brother Azhar. Brother Azhar was also asking one of the misconceptions about Islam is about having multiple wives and so on. So the bride definitely is Muslim, not in iddah. So if someone just divorced, they have to wait until the iddah finished. There's 4 cycles of menstruations and whatnot. Not the mahram with the groom. Not in ihram as well. So when you're doing Hajj and Umrah, consents, and the lady has to be unmarried. Yep. So that is the purpose, the condition, the arkan within marriage. Now, I think we need to conclude now. I have another long sections about things, but I just captured a snippet here and there, but I don't know whether we can finish it. What do you think, brother?
The knowledge and guidance.
Yeah.
Sure, you can.
So how much time we have? Are you okay, sister?
Yeah.
Yeah, I have been focused because it's right in front of me. So I've been focusing on it, and I need to ask someone to understand. But we will have questions later on, right?
Yeah.
We close it. We have questions later on, right?
Yeah.
So should we have questions now, or should we just go to? I don't know how many. I have plenty of slides in there. I don't know whether we have.
Is it a very how long is it?
Let me check. Let me check. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 slide. We can make it. We can make it slowly. Yeah. Are you sure?
Yeah.
All right. Ar-rijalu kawamun ala nisa. Have you heard that before? Kawam is responsibility. So Allah actually put responsibility not only between husband and wife, but also the son to the mother as well, to your mother, to your sister, to your daughters, and definitely to your wives as well. This is the kawam. So Allah, obviously now, despite what's happening in the outside world right now with gender and so on and so forth. So I don't know whether, but anyway, the word kawam means someone who is a caretaker, someone who looks after, someone that Allah will ask the responsibility, right? Responsibility is the kawam means someone who looks after the organization, like the leader, like the caretakers, like the chairman or something, right? To look after, to protect, and to also fulfill the need as well. And that's why Allah put, right? If you look at people, even at the cavemen and everything, it's always the guys that go out and hunt the wolves and then bring back food, right? Because that Allah put the desire to man to go out and to find risk, to find provisions and whatnot. So this is Allah. That's why men are responsible to bring the food, and this is part of Allah was has given. That's why Allah has given the task for the husband to support the wife, right? So, and again, if that's why if the wives go out and spend earn money, she does not have the responsibility to feed the whole family. She doesn't have responsibility to put the food on the table. If there's no food on the table, no matter how much money the wife has, the responsibility is to Allah puts on the husband. So this is something that is that we need to understand that as well, right? So this is Kawam. But of course, there's a lot of tangents that I can talk about it. I will put a lot of notes in it, but then probably on some other time. All right. Now, this is interesting. This is Surah Al-Baqarah 223. Qala ja'a Umar ila Rasulillah sallallahu alaihi wasallam faqala la ya Rasulullah, I'm done, I'm ruined, I'm destroyed. And Rasulullah says, why is that? And Umar bin Khattab says, I approached my wife from behind. And think about this, right? Sometimes in our tradition, it's so taboo to talk about something like this. In Islam, Islam covers almost every aspect in our life. See, I'm really, sometimes to get the point across, I have to tell you side stories. That's why even 7 side, I can make it 1 hour just to get the point across. And sometimes it's very hard to get the point across without examples. But I just want to give you a quick example, and then that's it. I'm not going to finish the whole slide. At least my experience, my peers' experience, right, and people I know, right, when they get married, there's no talk to the fathers, there's no talk to the mother about what they should do, what should be doing, right? And there was one time I was invited to, flew back to Indonesia. I was invited to attend a wedding reception. It was a wedding reception of my cousin's son, all right? And I asked my cousin, have you talked to your son about how to become a husband, what responsibility? No. Why not? No. Have you talked the dua? You know the dua? Allahumma janibna syaitan wa janib syaitan ma razaqtana. Right? Have you taught them? What's that? That's a dua they have to do. Right? So some tradition, that's like I said in point number 2, some traditions so taboo to talk about that. Let them find out themselves. No, it's not. Rasulullah never felt taboo about talking about like this. Even the asbab of the Quran, verses 2 to 3, when Allah mentions nisa'ukum harthilakum, right? That your wife is your farmland. How beautiful is it? It's very hard to make it in English, but in Arabic, it's why is that? Because Umar came and says, destroy. Why? Because I just entered my wife from behind or something like that. And Rasulullah didn't know to answer. And the Quran was revealed because of that. Right? And then, yes, you can do that as long as a proper channel. You can do it from that. Subhanallah. Right? I didn't hear that from my parents. I don't think, but that's the thing that we should learn about this. Right? We should know about this. Right? There's so many things that we should learn. We went for 4 years to become bachelor degrees and understandings, well, but certain things that husband, even today, is their wedding reception. They don't know anything. They don't know about the dua. They don't know how to. Subhanallah. That's why earlier before I said some of the masjid in Indonesia require people to attend a 2-week class to become a husband, and the lady to become just to go to these basic things as well. Right, so the companions there, they never said to us, right? And I have long number of hadith about this as well, right? No, there was this is very interesting. This hadith is very interesting. Why is it interesting? Someone who's not very rich came to Rasulullah, Ya Rasulullah, I'm poor, right? I don't have enough money to do sadaqah. Right? How can I increase my sadaqah? Look at this. The man is not having enough money to do sadaqah. He was jealous with the other companions who have money and spend money on the sadaqah. And it says, how can I increase my sadaqah? Look at this. Rasulullah said, if you say Alhamdulillah, it's sadaqah for you. You say La ilaha illallah, it's a sadaqah for you. You say Allahu Akbar and so on, you azkar, it's a sadaqah for you, right? And then if you do good and you ask people to forbid evil, right, it's a sadaqah for you. Even in genital is also sadaqah. And the companion says, Ya Allah, Ya Rasulullah, is sadaqah, right? And Rasulullah mentions that if you do it in a incorrect way, the haram way, it's sinful upon you. But if you do it to your lawful way, that Allah will give you reward. That's sadaqah for you. You can imagine the man out of money and everything now. Oh, I can go home and do sadaqah. Subhanallah, right? This is the concept that we never thought of something like this, right? Sadaqah means something. The word sadaqah means to accept the truth. That's what it originally meant. So like that's why Abu Bakr as-Siddiq, Abu Bakr accepted the truth. Abu Bakr confirmed the truth, right? His conviction is high, right? And then, subhanAllah, how many times Rasulullah, hurun maksuratin fil qiyam, how many times Rasulullah say in Surah Rahman, the word hur and everything, right? So again, this is, I don't want to, again, the companions is not shy to ask. I think for the interest of time, I have 6-7 more slides, but I need to, just to get the point across, I need something to tell the stories. I'm going to end it here, brother. And then probably we can do answer and answer, if that okay, because otherwise, yeah. All right. Looking at each other now. Is anyone online? Oh,
the rest they left.
Okay. All right. So the one that is alive is not gonna be filtered, right? I don't know. It should be okay, right? Yeah. Is it within the boundary, right? Yeah. But people who never heard this before, they're a bit shocked. But there's a lot of hadith that Rasulullah just quietly open to that. One of the hadith is get attracted. But this is subhanAllah, simple. Sometimes man, right? There's a very difficult, but Rasulullah give a very simple advice. We have that advice, and why I'm telling this is that because this is something that sometimes if we don't